where does all this start? This all starts with pre-production. Take care of the song and the song will take care of you. That statement goes a long way. Pre-production is a creative process, but your technical skills are assumed. You can't do the creative process if you don't understand how to interface with your tools. So you need a good understanding of how your tools work so you can use them to convey your ideas and actually accomplish your goals. If you don't know how to plug in your guitar and record it on your computer, then you'll never be able to jot down your ideas. You can't mold something out of nothing, so you need an idea. This is an important thing to understand about the producer role in particular, is that if a band comes into your studio and they don't have any material, what are you going to produce? So the band's got to have at least song ideas first, and then you're going to take those songs and mold them into better versions of themselves. The songwriter creates the idea and the producer brings it to life. That's basically the main point. And I think it's the producer's job to make it easier for the artist to bring his ideas to life. Sometimes it doesn't, sometimes the greatest producer in the world is the guy that just knows exactly what to do to make the artist comfortable so they can be creative. Or sometimes it's the producer who knows what kind of music that the artist is into, and he makes just the right suggestions so that the artist stays inspired by what they're doing. Because a lot of times the songwriter hears their song at least 1,000 times before they've even tried to record it. So it makes sense for the producer to keep things fresh. Give me a blank slate and I won't know what to do. So yeah, you come in, you don't have any riffs, I don't know what to do. You need to at least put the pen to paper and then give me a song and I'll make it 1,000 times better. That's really what a producer is supposed to do. So how do we do that? Step one, we need to analyze the song. What could be better about the song? So just like we were listening to the demo prior, I'm curious, did you guys notice anything about BPM while we were listening to the song? Did it sound slow, fast, anything like that?
I think,
Go ahead.
I don't know, I could be completely wrong, but it sounded slower the first time in the demo.
You're right. How about, did you notice that?
Yeah, I did notice that. And also, were there times so the first song, was it one set, or the first run through, was it one set BPM, or was it changing?
Yeah. So the original version of the song was just 1 BPM. And a funny story about this song in particular is when I showed the changes that I wanted to make to the artist, they didn't know that I had changed the tempo. Of course, they were like, oh yeah, sounds great, that we love all the little changes that you made. And that's part of what we're going to talk about is how in pre-production what I do, which is a little bit different than most people, is I go in and I actually make what I consider to be the final version of the song before we even record it. So I take and chop things up and move them around in the computer just so I can convey it to the artist easier. I'd rather show them an MP3 rather than sit down in a room and try to say, okay, well, what if we take this part and shorten it? I'm going to go ahead and shorten it and then play it back to you and show you what it sounds like. Now, they didn't notice that I changed the BPM, but actually, and I'll show you this later, there's certain parts that I slowed down a little bit, but there's also some parts that I sped up a little bit. And tiny little BPM changes just to make the song have a little bit more of an exciting feel in certain parts. So one of the first things that you look at when you're talking about making a song better is the BPM. The second thing that you look at is the boring sections. Well, you're going to listen to the song and try to see if there are boring sections. Bad transitions, that's a pretty common one. It's kind of frustrating as a songwriter because you can write this great chorus, you can write this great verse, but how do you connect them together? The transitions are always a thorn in your side. Then we look at tying it all together. I don't know if you guys noticed this about the demo, but there were some sections where basically the vocals just weren't there. I call those boring sections, and part of making the song work together is being able to connect those boring sections to the rest of the song. One of the things, I don't know if you noticed this, let me just show you this one part right here. So I'm going to play the demo and check out this part of the song. So there was a little bit of an awkward space there. He says, "Let me hear you scream." Then there's a gap, a pause, and then he says, "Let me hear you scream again." I thought that was pretty weird. So what I ended up doing is I took a part from the pre-chorus and copy and pasted it in there where he starts counting. So let me show you that. So that was me trying to tie that together because earlier in the song he does that count up and then he does that thing, and that just filled that gap beautifully. It connected the main idea together, and it took something from that you will remember from earlier that was a really key part of bringing you into the chorus, and it takes you basically on the top. It takes you from the climax of the song to the most exciting part, which is the end.